So we are really, really backstage at the Paso Fino Horse Show. There are some of the most beautiful horses I've ever seen. Look, I am here with one of Ray's dearest friends. This is Alex Gutierrez, and he is a world-renowned. Actually, are you the most well-known horseshoer in the world?
No, not nearly. Not nearly.
But you are award-winning.
You're just really cool.
Yeah. So Alex goes to a horse event like this, and you're in great demand, aren't you?
Well, I have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends and a lot of people that I absolutely respect, and it's mutual.
Well, okay, but there's a reason for it, because the thing what Alex does is he's actually sharing his knowledge, and not a lot of people are willing to, share what they know, and especially, and like Ray said, this is the only country in the world where you can be a horseshoer, a farrier, and actually make a great living out of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have plenty of horses, and whoever knows how to use their hands is in great demand.
And this is also an ancient business.
It's in the book of Genesis.
In the book of Genesis?
Yes.
Wait, what? What do
Yes.
you mean?
Genesis 4:6. You can look it up.
What does it say?
The blacksmith of steel and copper.
Wow.
His name was Tubalcain. I say it in Spanish. I don't know how to say it in English.
Okay.
Okay, so there
That's
is
neat.
at least 20 references in the Bible of the blacksmith.
Wow.
So it's an important trade.
It really is. Now, something that was interesting that you mentioned is that you have the equipment to put horseshoes on, the oldest and the newest.
Well,
So that's really interesting. Like, how has it changed over the
Well-
centuries, over millennia?
over the years, many things have changed. The quality of steel, the variety of steel, and not only that, but now we have synthetics. So now we have plastic shoes
What?
that we could put on horses, and we don't need to apply them with horseshoe nails.
Really?
We could, as a matter of fact, we're getting ready to use a little system where we might be able to show you how to glue
Ooh.
shoes on a horse's foot.
So 100 years ago,
It
they
was
would be
impossible.
like, what the?
What the? Yep, exactly. But not today. Today
Yeah.
is a reality.
So when was this invented?
It's I don't know exactly when it was invented, but I've been working with synthetics probably for 12, 15 years.
Well, are you one of the first people to work with synthetics?
No, I wasn't. There's some other horseshoers. One comes to mind, Curtis Burns, good friend of mine. He is the creator of a special shoe that is called Polyflex shoe.
Yeah.
And it's being used worldwide with great results. And many of the race horses and now the show jumpers are using it. And hopefully many more horses are going to start using it again because it's got great benefits and the results are there.
So, okay, everyone wears shoes, right? We all have to wear shoes, and horses are like people in that they have to wear shoes too. Why do horses wear shoes?
Well, the reason why horses wear shoes is because we put a demand on them greater than they are supposed to do on their own. In other words, this is the best way that I could explain it. If you're going to be around your house, just doing what you do every day around your house, you don't need shoes.
Right.
But if you go outside on the pavement, or you want to run in the park, or you're a construction worker, you have to wear appropriate shoes for the type of situation that you're going to be in. Well, a horse is perfectly capable of being in his house, his habitat, without shoes. But once we take him from the natural habitat where he is supposed to be, now we have to supply a little extra for the demand that we put on them.
Okay, so the shoes are metal, or at least they always were metal. How did they realize, let's put metal shoes on the horses? Do you know how that came about?
Well, that was basically the reason.
In the Bible.
Well, the reason why it exists is because there was the need.
Yeah.
And there's been historians that narrate that after the horseshoe was put on horses, great civilizations were built and great things were done. So the fact that the horseshoe was invented or created changed the whole entire history of the world.
That's mind-blowing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Ray tells us that this is the 500th anniversary of the horse in America. Did you know that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not only I know it, I was one of the, how do you say this, the pioneers of letting the world know that the horse in Latin America got in through Mexico via Cuba, and I'm Cuban.
Nice.
So 500 years ago, there was a joint effort with Dr. Jorge Murga.
Okay.
And what I've done is I have made emblematic horseshoes, and they have been in the same course that the horse took in 500 years ago.
Wow.
Going from Mexico all the way to Argentina, I have made horseshoes that I have delivered myself personally to all of these countries. Tracing the same route that the horse did 500 years ago, and return one special shoe to Cuba as the return of the horse to Cuba.
That's mind-blowing. A lot of people think that horses were, the Indians were riding them, you know, thousands of years ago here in America. And there were no horses here, right?
There were no horses here. The horses in America came from Cuba and originally from Spain. Cuba was the hub of the conquistadores, and they went to Puerto Veracruz in Mexico.
Wow.
And that's how some of the horses got there.
Okay, so now there are horses all over the world, obviously, and they all have to wear shoes. And so what Alex is explaining to me is that there's an issue here where the horses, you know, putting shoes on horses, it's a pretty big deal, right? I mean, it's how hard is it to do that before even you had to nail them in, right? Without the glue when you had nail.
Well, what's been happening is that as the horse has evolved, so has the sport of the horse. So many years ago, shoeing horses was a basic, simple task. But now the horses have evolved to greater speeds and greater agility, and now the horseshoer must inquire or must have more knowledge of the biomechanics of the horse to feed his needs. So now we are engaged in a worldwide epidemic or pandemic of sharing the knowledge of how to shoe the horse to the best of the ability of the horseshoer.
He's about to put the shoes on.
Oh.
So I don't
Let's
know if
check
you want to get
this
some
out.
of the...
Yeah, watch this. Maybe. Okay, don't get too close. Alex can tell us what's going on here.
Okay, so here we have a good friend of mine from Medellin, Colombia, and his name is Pablo Montoya, and he has been hired to come here to shoe this wonderful mare, and she is one of the favorite mares to win this afternoon. We're gonna see if it happens or not, but I do have confidence that it will. He's doing a great job shaping the shoe on a device called stall jack, and he's got very simple tools here now because he had to travel, and he's not using his own equipment, but he's putting hind shoes on, and if you see, he's taking great care, making sure that the dimension of the shoe and the perimeter of the shoe is met according to the white line or the specifications of the hoof. That way he can ensure that the mare is going to be comfortable for the task that she's going to endure later on today.
Is it painful at all for the horse to get shoed?
It's not supposed to be painful, but if it's not done correctly, it could be not only painful, but it could be life-threatening.
Yeah, dangerous.
Absolutely, life-threatening, because the horse's foot is made out of sensitive structures that if the nails don't go in the right place, those sensitive structures are affected, and inflammation could create something that we call laminitis, or inflammation of the lamina, and it could get further complications, and it could be devastating for the horse. So it is very important that the horseshoer takes his time and does a good job nailing the shoe on, to ensure the well-being of the horse.
And so this is the problem that we are having throughout the world that you mentioned, that people who do this work are not formally trained in a lot of cases, in most cases, right?
There are many horseshoers that are doing a good job and are doing an even better job if they would be properly trained. So what's happening in many cases is that traditionally horseshoeing techniques have been passed down by friends or generation, by family members, and there hasn't been proper training in many cases. And even though they do the best that they can, I'm going to quote a good friend of mine, the owner and writer of the book of Hugo Fontanilla, where he says that the horseshoer does what he knows, but sometimes doesn't know what he does.
Wow.
Here we have Pablo. He finished doing the final touches on the shoe, and I think he's going to be ready to nail the shoe on. If you want to get a little closer, we can watch Pablo. He's selecting the right nail right now. He's putting it on his magnet. So when he's ready to put the shoe on, he has all the nails that he needs right there on the magnet, on the protective gear that he's got. Now Pablo is one of the most active members of the A.F.A. I don't know if you could read on his red hat. It says A.F.A. That is one of the things that we promote. We promote education in many places in Latin America. Right now we're in 8 countries, and he is one of the top or leading horseshoers in Colombia, and he is today representing Colombia in this spectrum. So the nail that he's putting on is a very tiny little nail. It's not creating any pain, or it's not creating any discomfort to the horse. It's just creating protection for the foot. So when she goes out there, she could give it her all.
So Alex was mentioning to me that he is part of an effort, especially in Colombia, to start training for certification for farriers.
That is correct. We're involved in hands-on training in Colombia, Uruguay, Argentina, Mexico, Costa Rica, and 8 countries in total.
So you said there's like tens of thousands of farriers in these countries who are just doing this job. Like you said, they learned it from their dad. They learned it, on the job and have no formal training. So what would you like to see happen differently?
I would like to see a joint effort of the horse community to encourage these gentlemen. There are many young fellows that are willing and are anxious to learn, to encourage them to come to our clinics and learn a few things. It's going to not only better their well-being, but it's also going to better the well-being of their horses.
And horses are worth a lot of money these days, especially horses like this one right here.
Well, yes, there is a lot of money invested in some of these horses, but we're advocating not only for the most expensive horses, we're advocating for all horses, because in a lot of our countries, the horse still is an animal that provides food for the family. Right. So those horses also should be protected with good protection in their feet. I know in Cuba, a lot of these horses are used for road work. In Guatemala, they're still, and even in Colombia, they still use mules for gathering the coffee crops. So we're advocating not just for the, let's say, the fancy elite, but we're doing this for all horses in general.
That's great. What do you know what this horse's name is?
We could ask real quick. ¿Cómo se llama la yegua? Encantadora.
Encantadora.
In Spanish is charming.
Charming. This horse is very charming.
She is very charming.
What a gorgeous creature. And she's one of the favorites picked to win at this competition.
She's the favorite in this team. I mean, we have great expectations for this mare this afternoon. She's going to be going in a classic Fino style competition, and we have a lot of hope that she's going to win.
So how different are horses like Paso Fino or regular Western riders or English riders when it comes to shoeing the horse? How different is it?
Well, there are several differences. One of the differences is the Paso Fino has a very, very smooth gait, and later on we're gonna probably get some video of how smooth this gait is.
Yep, they saw.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we did a show earlier.
Oh, okay. So that is one of the major reasons. It's the speed and comfort of the way these horses travel that makes them unique.
Yeah.
Now, this is an effort of many, many years of breeding, and even though they are born with this natural gait, through training and special care, these horses perfect the gait, and that's how they are chosen for this type of competition. Paso Fino has a very, very smooth gait. It's the speed and comfort of the way these horses travel that makes them unique.
Yeah.
Now, this is an effort of many, many years of breeding, and even though they are born with this natural gait, through training and special care, these horses perfect the gait, and that's how they are chosen for this type of competition.
A lot of my viewers were concerned that it's painful for the horses to walk that way.
Oh, absolutely not.
So they were bred to do it.
They are bred to do it. It would be interesting to show babies.
Yeah.
Babies walking next to their mothers, and they're already exposed the fine Paso Fino gaits. So they were bred to do this.
Oh, that must be so cute to see a baby practicing.
Well, maybe we could find a little video later on.
I love that.
Of babies walking next to their mothers and already showing their fine qualities.
One of the things that you're doing here at this show is teaching other farriers some of the things that you know. Is that right? You're giving a class?
These are horseshoers, and they're all friends of mine, and I love to come to these events and meet them and say hello to them again.